Today I will talk about the terrible accident involving the Korea airplane, Flight 801. See, everything that happened on that fateful day, you already know, but it's worth remembering. Subscribe, like, and share. Welcome to our channel, and fasten your seatbelts. It was the early morning of August 6, 1997. At Seoul's Incheon International Airport, Korean Air Flight 801 were preparing for departure to the island of Guam, a U.S. territory in the Pacific. It was a routine red-eye flight operated by a Boeing 747-300 with 254 people on board, including passengers, crew, and 3 experienced pilots. None of them imagined that the journey would end in tragedy. The flight proceeded without incident for most of its nearly 5-hour duration. Captain Park Yong-chul, with over 8,900 flight hours, was respected for his discipline. However, under the cover of darkness and in adverse weather conditions, the approach to Guam's airport will become increasingly complicated. The weather wasn't favorable. Low clouds and heavy rain shrouded the island. The aircraft was scheduled to approach runway 6L, and the pilots expected assistance from the Instrument Landing System, ILS. However, the ILS of that runway was out of service for maintenance, a fact noted in the aviation notices, but seemingly misunderstood or underestimated by the crew. Air traffic control cleared the approach. Inside the cockpit, the pilots were under pressure to stay on schedule. Visibility was limited, and the 747 began a descent based on what they believed to be accurate. Without ILS, the landing depended on correctly interpreting minimum approach altitudes and the localizer's position. At 1:42 a.m., the captain reported that they were on final approach. At 1:43 a.m., the aircraft slammed into a hill near Nimitz Hill, approximately 3 miles short of the runway. The impact broke the 747 into 3 sections, igniting a fireball amid the thick vegetation and darkness. 228 people were killed. Only 26 survived. The news shocked South Korea, the United States, and the global aviation community. This was not just another accident. It was a disaster born from multiple failures, human, technical, and operational. Rescue teams arrived as quickly as possible, battling mud, fire, and wreckage. Many survivors were found in the rear sections of the fuselage, which had broken off before the fire spread. Among them was a flight attendant who, despite her injuries, helped guide passengers away from flames. The investigation, led by the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, uncovered a chain of fatal missteps. First, it confirmed that the ILS was indeed out of service, a fact noted in NOTAMs, aviation notices, but not properly considered by the flight crew. Second, it revealed that the captain mistakenly believed the plane was being guided by an automated system that was not operating, leading to a premature descent. Moreover, the first officer and flight engineer were reluctant to challenge the captain's decisions, even as they noticed inconsistencies in the altitude and approach path. The hierarchical cockpit culture typical of some Asian airlines of the time, known as cockpit authority gradient, prevented a decisive intervention. A ground proximity warning system alarm sounded just seconds before the crash, but came too late to avert disaster. The investigation also uncovered deficiencies in Korean Air's training programs and operational standardization. The NTSB's final report emphasized the urgent need for the airline to overhaul its safety management systems. Flight 801's crash was not in vain. It became a turning point in South Korean aviation history. Korean Air, under intense criticism and facing potential loss of international partnerships, launched a deep reform process.